Now, a couple of weeks ago, we did a tier list on Wonderkid strikers in Football Manager, and you guys absolutely seemed to love that video, other than one guy who said I was better than doing tier lists. But still, you guys requested more and more positions. You wanted to see them. One of the most requested positions was centre-back. So guess what we're doing today? We're also going to be looking at each of these players included at their maximum potential, because a few of you wanted to see that as well. I'm a man of the people. I give you what you want. That deserves a thumbs up, because that's what I want. So you give to me, I give to you. Yes, now as you can see on the screen right here, we have a tier list and we have 11 or 12 faces down here. I can't remember how many there was now, but there is faces down here of centre-backs in the game. Now, what I have done to qualify this, because unlike strikers, there are so many centre-backs from 170 potential range and above. So I didn't include the 170 potential ranges. What I did though was include the 180 potential ranges, and I included every single player that has a fixed potential of above 160, because the 170 potential range is not a guarantee that they'll make it there. There is a possibility, in fact, that it'll only be 140. So I felt like, personally, these players, when they have fixed attributes or fixed potentials, stand a much more of a better chance of being a better player than some of those ones on a potential range. I hope that's okay, but here we go. Let's take a look at our first player. Now, the first player on this list is Anel Ahmedhodzic. But anyway, you can see him here on the screen. He has a potential range of 165, and this is him set to 165. He is absolutely phenomenal. I've actually bought him on my Twitch today, twitch.tv/MegaLoopGaming, on the Journeyman with Fiorentina, because you can pick him up for such a cheap price, like less than £5 million. And he is this good. 6'5", he is an absolute monster. The physicals are outstanding. He has great technicals as well, a passer of the ball, and even vision of 15 as well, means that his mental attributes are outstanding too. 21 years of age, he's good at the start of the game too. This man, in my opinion, has got to go in the A tier. I absolutely love Anel. I really enjoyed doing a player spotlight on him a long time ago. And if you guys haven't used him yet, you need to use him. He's just that good. The next player on the list though, Ronald Araujo. And if we look at Ronald Araujo, set to his maximum here, is around about 165. He has some good attributes, don't get me wrong, but there's something missing compared to Anel, in my opinion. And I think playing for Barcelona, he's quite a bit more expensive than a lot of the other players on this list, already valued at £21 million, which of course is like quadruple the amount that you can actually buy Anel Ahmedhodzic for. 6'3", he has okay physicals, he has very good mental attributes, and technicals again are okay, not too special. In my opinion, there is just something missing with this player. And so I think I have to, in the grand scheme of things of all the players on this list, I have to put him in the D tier. Now, people might get annoyed by that compared to like your saves or what you've used him. I just think there's a reason why Barcelona tend to buy other centre-backs instead of actually using Ronald Araujo. The next man though, Bright Arrey-Mbi. Now, this is one of two Bayern Munich players that we are going to see today. German, 17 years old, left-footed as well, which obviously is preferred for a lot of these players because they're a lot more hard to come by. This guy has a potential range of 180. This is him at 180. He is outstanding, by the way. He is absolutely incredible. There's a few things that I wish were slightly different, and because he's set to 180 in the pre-game editor, it means that some of his attributes might not be distributed perfectly. For instance, the first touch, finishing and dribbling, 15s and 12s, is a little bit high for a centre-back. He can play in the CDM role, but his best role is that centre-back position. You want to see more on the heading rather than dribbling, first touch and finishing. Other than that, he's 6'2". His physical attributes are amazing. Natural fitness of 12 is the only one that's underneath 16, and that is fine because playing at centre back you shouldn't really struggle for fitness that much. But look at the pace, 19 pace, 18 acceleration, really solid attributes. Like again, if his attributes were distributed better in the technical attributes, maybe a little bit more in the mentals, maybe given a little bit more in that vision instead of other ones possibly in the technicals again, then you could be looking at one of the best centre-backs on the game. Have you used this guy in the past, though, in your saves? Because not a lot of people speak about how good this guy is when he has this really high potential range. And so, looking at that, I'm going to put him in the B tier because I genuinely think he is one of the best players on this list. It's just a case of not many people use him. I haven't used him myself. Have you? Let me know. The next one is the Italian, Bastoni, who plays for Inter Milan. Solid player again. And I know that sounds stupid saying solid player, but again, he's 21 years of age. He has really good attribute distribution, plays for Inter Milan, and he's actually caused me quite a lot of problems on other saves. For instance, the Youth to Gold, when this guy was playing a CDM, he was the best player on the pitch. I had to kind of do something to stop him from playing as good as what he did and knocking me out of the Champions League. He hasn't got a natural ability of playing that DM, but whoever was controlling him in the AI played him enough there, so he was a natural. So, just from what we can see here, again, left-footed. It is another plus. It is another plus. He doesn't have the best physicals on this list, but still very good for any centre-back to have this. I mean, 14 being the lowest on acceleration. Everywhere else, exactly where you need it. Jumper reach 17, strength 16, lovely stuff. The technicals are perfect in my opinion. He has good first touch. He has great passing abilities alongside the fundamentals of heading, marking and tackling. Good technique as well, and he can dribble, so a good ball playing defender in my opinion. He has fantastic mental attributes, exactly where you need them, the right amount of aggression, a good anticipation, composure, decision makings, and of course positioning, which we need to look at. 6'3" as well. This guy's going to be quite high, right? I think, personally, I'd be putting him in the very high C grade because that is, I mean, he's just less than 170 for his potential. Again, it's fixed, so he's more than likely going to get there than any other player. So I think high C's, maybe move him up to a B in the future, we'll see. But this next one, De Ligt. Okay, let's talk about him. Now, De Ligt has the highest potential on the game for a centre-back with 185, and it's understandably, really, he is fantastic already in real life, and he's just 20 years of age now, coming up to 21 in real life. For Juve, of course, who are one of the best teams in Europe, so he's got to be quite good, right? And if we look at his attributes here, other than physicals, which are slightly underwhelming compared to the other players we have seen, that 19 of strength, though, looks great. He's 6'2", slightly smaller than the other players. His mental attributes are just the best that we have seen so far. Bravery of 18, there's only a few that here which doesn't correlate to a very good centre-back. Of course, on the technical attributes as well, we mentioned before, dribbling and first touch are great for the ball players. He has great technique as well. Tackling, passing, marking, heading, all really good attributes and very well distributed, of course, across. Player traits, he has dives into tackles and brings the ball out of defense, meaning, of course, again, he's a ball player. He's right-footed. He's got to be one of the best on this list. And to be honest, I think we have to put him very high on this list. I'm going to put him in the A tier here, just above Anel. The reason for he's not on the S tier, I think sometimes physicals are very underrated on how powerful physicals are. And I'm actually doing a video coming out very soon where I'm putting against physicals, mentals and technical attributes against each other, and I think you'll all be quite surprised on how that video turns out. So De Ligt sits here at the top of the A tier. Do you agree with my decision? Eric Garcia next, Man City player in real life who has just moved to Barcelona, and on the game always leaves on a free transfer, and hopefully you can get your hands on him as a free transfer after the first season. Because if we take a look at this player as set to his maximum potential, yet again we are seeing so many greens distributed perfectly for a centre-back. Technicals to begin with, like we said before, they're all in the right places. Mental attributes are his strongest point. Positioning there of 17, great concentration of 17, composure of 18, meaning when he's on the ball he is so composed, he is absolutely exceptional. Physical attributes are great as well. The only ones that aren't green are all set to 14. The only problem with Eric Garcia, in my humble opinion, is that he stands at just 6 foot, meaning that he can be quite overpowered if you come up against quite a tall striker, and probably he's going to be better suited to be a cover centre-back rather than a stopper who will be attacking the ball. And so I think we have to kind of put him in the B tier here, although he has really good attributes. And in fact, I'm actually going to move him down one. I'm going to move him down below Bastoni because I actually rate Bastoni higher. When I look at Bastoni compared to Eric Garcia, Bastoni has a couple of inches on him. He has better physical attributes. I think that is probably a fair result. Now, this cheeky chappy here is a Brazilian by the name of Ibanez, who is from Atalanta but joining Roma permanently after a loan spell. And if we take a look at him here, set to his maximum, he's one of the oldest players on this list, again at 21 years of age. Yes, I mean, he's not like lightning quick, he's not like the best defender you'll see on the game, but he has good attribute distribution in all the right places. 6'2" is just on the cusp of where I would say is a good height for a centre-back. There's no weakness with this guy, but there's just no glaringly obvious strength, in my opinion. The 18 tackling is the highest attribute that he has here. Of course, this is when he's set to the maximum. It might be slightly different depending on what you've trained him on in your save. Dives into tackles and brings the ball out of defence. That is exactly the same as de Ligt's, but he has a lot worse attributes in the mentals, I think, to carry those player traits than Matthijs de Ligt. And so I think I'm going to put him down here in the D tier above Ronald Araujo. And that's not to say that I think he's one of the worst like defenders, Wonderkids on the game. It's just out of this list that I would consider him. But the next one, Josko Gvardiol, who is the most impossible name to pronounce on Football Manager. I promise you that. He is something special. And that is because when you set him to his maximum, he looks a bit like this. Again, left-footed. One of the things that I love to see on a centre-back, but my word, look at those physical attributes. We'll start there straight away. He's 6'1", so he's slightly lower than what I would, or slightly smaller side than what I would consider to be acceptable, but he has a lot better jump and reach than the ones previously that we have just seen with 17. 17 acceleration, jump and reach, and stamina, but he has 19 for pace and strength. This guy is a physical monster. He is going to be so hard to come up against if you find him in your opposition's side. Really good mental attributes again, anticipation, bravery, composure, really solid. A couple of 18s there, bravery and composure. A few 17s as well, teamwork, vision of 18, of 15, work rate of 18, and then look at his technical attributes as well. I mean, fast touch 16, great at dribbling with 14, heading 16. He can also do a long throw, marking's great, passing of 17, tackling of 17, technique of 16. This guy's very good. Player traits. Tries to play his way out of trouble, tries long-range passes, brings the ball out of defence. If I remember rightly, those three are very similar to Van Dijk's. He has a very similar stature to Van Dijk, other than maybe he's slightly smaller. If you manage to pick up Josko, then you've got yourself a centre-back for a long time. Because he's only 18 years of age, so that's like 10 years. He's still 28, he should be in his prime. So 15 years potentially you could get out of this player if his physical attributes hold out for you. Imagine having this guy for 15 years. So I think he has to go in the S tier, in my opinion. He has that potential range of 180. I think if he reaches 180, and let's judge him by that, he is S tier in my opinion. I think he probably is the best player on this list just for those physicals alone, really, which obviously amalgamate to an incredible player. People are going to disagree with this. People are going to want to see de Ligt above him. In my opinion, he is the best player potentially that we've seen on this list so far anyway. Jules Kounde is the next player on this list from Sevilla, and as we can see, 21 years of age, he has a fixed potential on the game. Now, from just looking at him straight away, looks quite solid. Obviously, every single physical attribute is a green. A lot of it is just 15s, but that's still solid. And his mental attributes, again, are really quite something as well. A lot of 15s, 16s there too. Now, his technical attributes, he has 12 and 14 in dribbling and first touch for that ball player, so it's quite solid really. Passing again is 14, technique of 14, so it's not quite as good as some of the ones that we've seen, but if this was my defender, I'd be more than happy with that because the fundamentals of heading, marking, and tackling are 16 or 17. So that's great in my opinion. There is one glaring weakness that we will see with Jules Kounde, and that he is only 5'11". That is my height, and I would consider myself to be too small to play centre-back. In fact, I'm just below 6 foot, and I wouldn't want to play centre-back, because you come up against a striker who is just as tall as you, winning aerial battles is going to be quite difficult. He also has player traits of knocks ball past opponent, which does worry me. As a centre-back, I wouldn't want him to do that. Maybe play a too hard of a touch, lose the ball, because then you're the last line of defense. You might be struggling there. And tries long range passes with only 14 vision and passing could be quite dangerous. And I think that's a shame, because this guy does have the potential to be really good. And if he has slightly better attributes in certain positions, he might be higher. But I think we have to put him in the D tier, maybe in behind Ibanez. But the Frenchman is going to go in between the Brazilian and the Uruguayan. Another Frenchman on this list, there's going to be a lot of them by the way, is Tanguy Nianzou. He is in Bayern Munich's youth team, just like Arrey-Mbi that we've seen earlier. This guy, 18 years of age, when he is set to his maximum, he has potential range for 180, 18 for pace. I mean, his physical attributes are solid once again, 17 jumping reach, 17 balance, some really good attributes there, 18 strength. He's 6'2" as well, that's acceptable height. The only problem I think this guy has is his mental attributes are slightly lower than some of the ones that we have seen so far. Decision making and anticipation of 13 could be quite worrying. Sometimes I like to have like really high anticipation. To be a good defender, you need to anticipate things happening, and I think he might struggle with that. And positioning of 15 as well. That combination of anticipation and positioning of only 15 at an elite level, you might struggle with. At, you know, every run of the mill club you might be fine with, and that's quite a high level, but latter stage of the Champions League, this is where this might cost you. At the technical attributes, this is where I think some of the attribute distribution for this potential range might come into play here, because he has 15 crossing, which obviously is not great for a player who plays centre-back. We would want to see that distributed a lot better across the technicals, maybe a little bit more for marking or tackling. He does have 16 for passing as well to match that 15 vision. So I think he has to go below Jules Kounde. Maybe, does he go below? I'm going to put him above Ronald Araujo. I think Ronald Araujo might end up being the worst player on this list. And Tanguy Nianzou is going to fit in just above him in that D tier. And I have 4 players in there already, which doesn't look great. The B tier, we might have to bump a few up, to be honest. We only have 2 players on the list, and the next one is Dayot Upamecano, who will soon be another Bayern Munich centre-back. And here he is. Let's take a look at him then. 21 years of age. Now, I have gone on record saying that I am not a big fan of this player in Football Manager. The main reason why is at the start of the game, he has terrible mental attributes. This is in when he's set to his maximum potential, and he has a fixed potential as well. And they are okay. I'd even say that, to be honest, Tanguy Nianzou has better mental attributes than this man. The only really big strength that he has is his physical attributes. He has 19 for pace, but we've seen better than that previously on this list, and he's only 6'1". He brings the ball out of defense. He tries to play away out of trouble. This guy, to me, is just asking for mistakes to happen in your team. Bad anticipation, composure of only 14, concentration and decision makings of only 13. And the worst thing about this player, he has a defensive positioning of 12. That for me is unforgivable. And so I think I'm going to have to do a little bit of a change around, because that is nowhere near high enough in my opinion. I'm going to bump Bastoni up to the B tier here, Ibanez into the C tier, probably Kounde and Nianzou into the C tier. I think I've been too hard on them, to be honest. And Ronald Araujo and Dayot Upamecano, it's going to sit at the bottom in the D tier. But we have 1 player left on this list, and yet again, it's a Frenchman. Now, we have seen how good this guy is in real life playing for Leicester City, Wesley Fofana, and it is a player that I would love to have at my club, Manchester United. He is exactly what I think we would need right now. He is young, he is pacey, he is strong, he seems to have a good head on his shoulders. I think we have been done here with the weird current ability. Changing the current ability is given some strange attributes, because I mean, for some reason he looks like a really good libero, but in any other game that I ever played with Wesley Fofana that I took a look at him, this just doesn't match up in my opinion. The 12 finishing and 11 crossing, I'm sorry. I can't even apologising to you. Mental attributes, a lot of them are 14s, which is okay, not amazing. I think obviously his biggest strength is the physical attributes. He is 6'3" as well. So with that jump and reach of 18, strength of 16, 6'3", heading of 17, set pieces, this guy's going to be great for you. And I think that's his saving grace. For set pieces, defensively and attacking, and being like a stopper, attacking the ball from goal kicks, etc. This guy could be really good, given some good player traits, marking opponents tightly and stuff like that. Playing away out of trouble because he has 14 vision and 14 passing, 14 composure. I do like this guy, don't get me wrong. He is quite expensive if you were to buy him, but you do see the elite level clubs always picking him up because Wesley Fofana is a very good player. And so that gives me a tricky decision. Where do I put Wesley? I think just based on those attributes alone, he has to go here in the C tier, and he has to be in behind Tanguy Nianzou. I was tempted to do this, but after looking at how bad Jules Kounde's attributes was in this save when we set into his maximum, Ibanez just looked like a better option in my opinion. I think this is correct though. I think this is correct. We seen in the striker one we had 2 S tiers. That was because it was Haaland and Mukoko, who you cannot deny is S tier level, and nobody argued with me about that. People might say that De Ligt should be up here and maybe swapped around with Josko Gvardiol, but if Gvardiol hits his maximum, he looks better, in my opinion, than De Ligt. And Anel Ahmedhodzic, he's just outstanding. He's just outstanding. He's 6'5". He's an absolute beast. I think this is exactly how I would rate this. I don't think I need to change anything else. What's your opinions? What would you change? Let me know down in the comments. So thank you very much for watching the video. Please drop a like on it if you can, that'd be fantastic. Let me know down in the comments what other positions you want me to do in the future, and I'll see you very soon for another video. Bye bye.